craziest thing someone drunk said to you? So this happened like 5 years ago when I turned 21. I wanted to do something crazy for my birthday, and my friends were all boring AF, so I decided to go skydiving by myself. Like, who does that? Me, apparently, LOL. I show up at this place in the middle of nowhere. Just fields and a tiny airstrip. The office was literally a trailer with a faded sign. Not exactly instilling confidence, but whatever, I'm committed at this point. My instructor was this dude named Salvador. Tall, probably mid-30s, with this intense stare that made me nervous, but also kind of safe, if that makes sense. He had this weird accent I couldn't place. Not quite Spanish, not quite something else. The training was pretty standard, I guess. I mean, how would I know? First timer here, LOL. Salvador was super professional, showing me all the equipment, explaining what would happen during the tandem jump, all that safety stuff. But I noticed something weird. Every time we took a break, he'd disappear behind the trailer. And each time he came back, he seemed different. Like, his eyes got a little glassier, his accent got stronger, and he started saying these random philosophical things. During our third break, he came back and suddenly grabbed my shoulders and was like, "Lila, do you understand that we are about to defy death together? We will be suspended between worlds." Then immediately went back to explaining harness protocols like nothing happened. I was like, okay. I probably should have backed out right then, but I'd already paid $300 non-refundable. And TBH, I thought maybe this was just how skydiving instructors pump themselves up. Like their version of pre-game rituals? Fast forward to us actually getting on the tiny plane. Salvador is now definitely acting strange. He keeps whispering things under his breath, and I swear I caught him taking sips from a flask when the pilot wasn't looking. Y'all, I was freaking out internally, but also didn't want to seem like a chicken. The plane climbs to jumping altitude, and Salvador straps us together for the tandem jump. His breath smells like tequila, and he's swaying slightly. The pilot gives the signal. Salvador slides open the door, and the roar of wind fills the plane. We're positioned at the door, my heart is pounding, and right before we jump, Salvador leans in super close to my ear and slurs, "I need to tell you something important. I've never actually jumped with another person before. They just promoted me yesterday from packing parachutes." Then he pushed us out of the plane. I'm literally screaming as we're free-falling through the air, thinking I'm about to die because my instructor is both drunk and inexperienced. Salvador is laughing maniacally behind me, and I'm just praying to every god I can think of. Then he yells, "Also, I have a confession. I'm actually afraid of heights." I'm not even kidding. We're falling at like 120 bars, and this man tells me he's afraid of heights. I couldn't even respond because the wind was so intense and I was basically having an out-of-body experience at this point. Somehow, Salvador managed to pull the chute at the right time. As we're floating down more peacefully, he starts sobbing on my shoulder, telling me how he never wanted to be a skydiving instructor, but his father was a famous skydiver, and he felt pressured to follow in his footsteps. Landing was rough. We basically tumbled and rolled because Salvador was too emotional to guide us properly. Once we were on the ground, the other staff rushed over. Turns out they had been watching through binoculars and could tell something was off. Here's the crazy part. Salvador wasn't a new instructor at all. He had over 3,000 jumps under his belt. But he was drunk and apparently had been secretly drinking for months to cope with his growing fear of heights. An occupational hazard he developed after a near-miss incident. The staff gave me a full refund plus a voucher for another jump, which I never used, LOL.